All right, guys, welcome back. Episode 35 of the HYPEWORKS Podcast. It's a momentous episode because we have our first designer today and also a very close friend, Mr. Jorge Calderon.
Nice to meet you guys. The honor is mine. As always, very happy to see you.
Great place to start there. Jorge, what are you, designer or artist?
That's the question of my life, actually. I'm a designer by profession. I'm an artist by heart.
Deep.
So
we'll have
poetic.
to catch So go on then, Jorge. We've got to go back now. So tell me, how did you first get into art? Where did that start for you?
Well, I actually, it's not like something I choose. I start working on art since I'm 4 years old. That was like education project of my dad. He was an architect, so he teach me the first lessons of art when I was 4. I won my first art contest when I was 5, and I think that was pretty enough for me to know that's what I'm going to be in the future. So I pretty clear knew what's going to be the future in my life, and that's the path that I choose since day one.
What happened after the art contest?
Well, it's like, when you're a kid and you're looking for your for your direction, you want to know who you are in this world. It's like I got it quite clear, right? So I know I was an artist. Everybody in the family was like, we have an artist, like the kid is an artist, he's an artist. So I feel like everybody was expecting from me to be the next Picasso or something like that. So actually, the pressure was huge, always. But it was also, I think many kids had this questioning about what they are, what is their purpose in life. And I know this is
kids, George, not just adults as well, no?
No, I mean, like, since you're a kid, right, and adults, it becomes harder and worse, right? But yeah, I skipped that. I never had that questioning. I always got it very clear. In the opposite side, like in the other side, in the B side of the situation, I will say, actually, the pressure was very, very hard because when I started doing the designer career, and I was not doing art, and most of you knew me, it was like, what the heck I am doing with my career, with my purpose in life. So it was good in a sense of knowing what to do, but also in some points of my life was like, dude, don't forget who you are. Go back all the time.
Well,
so
who are you today? What's the we know you, our audience don't know you. Tell us where you're at.
Right. So after almost 10 years working for corporations as a graphic designer and as a creative director, I chose the path of becoming an artist. So I am working on my on my own brand, let's say. Like in terms, for most of our friends, people who is in the marketing world or in the business world, I created an art brand which is called Starman Funk, and that's what I'm working on. Like the work that you see in the back, I created like a design system, a visual system, and I am selling this visual system for some people, to some companies, and is doing well. Actually, is working. In the other side, like I'm still doing some graphic design works. I'm a multimedia designer, so I'm working for some companies as an artist, and also I'm producing the content for them. So in this world of influencers and social media, I am an artist that can produce the content by himself. Like I can do everything. I can do the content. I can help you with a little strategy about that, and I can produce it for you. So there's nothing you need to do. I can do the whole thing.
You're a
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I just want to get into that, okay? Because we've had some discussions. Where do you think the line is between somebody that's a graphic designer and an artist? Is it being told what to do by somebody else? Are you the artist delivering it to the world? Or, what's the difference? Is a designer told what to do? Is an artist free-minded? Where do you put the line?
Yeah, I think art is the most beautiful expression of humanity. Is something really free. It's something dictated by your heart and emotions, and also is a ministry of your soul. But design is not like that free. Design is a science, is a system, or is a tool somehow that fixes or works in some social problems like commerce through art. So you can resolve problems of humanity through art. Like, for example, I want to sell this t-shirt, but I don't know what to do. So the designer take art, understand the data, the information behind your business, and create a product, a visual product that works for the market, for the target, for the audiences that you are looking for. The art is basically doing whatever you feel with any agenda, without listening data, without thinking in the market, actually creating new emotions, creating new trends. The design is the opposite, in a way that you follow trends, you follow information from the market to create new products that are scientifically proved that will work in some societies.
It's a very interesting view. So what are you working on at the minute? Can you give us any insights?
Yeah, right. I'm working with some brands here in Ecuador. Actually, I'm working for 3 brands. It's very interesting. One is a fashion brand. Is the fashion world is Fila. I don't know if you know my background. 10 years ago, I was the brand ambassador of Adidas Originals in Ecuador. So I had a little portfolio on creating art for those brands, and doing the lifestyle images, and wearing the products, being cool with the brand. And some of the people who initially worked in those projects 10 years ago, they are still in charge of some brands. So they contact me when I came back, because I was always doing artworks and showing online. And when I was in China, I was contacted by Fila. So I was doing some activations for Fila, and these people who I told you was working in Adidas in Ecuador, they was now working for Fila. So they say, "Hey George, we actually love what you're saying, what you're doing in China. Can you show us what is that brand positioning that is actually very new for us in Ecuador? We want to understand." Fila in China is doing something really, really interesting. Is into the glam fitness. So it's a brand that tennis players and golf players will love to show in the court, because it's like Italian design is competing with Celine, or let's say those big brands in Europe. So that approach is very interesting, and Ecuador was not doing that. So I was like giving some inputs to the brand team in Ecuador. And when I moved here, they said, "You know what? We want to give you a gift." And they start giving me clothes and like They were like, this is very smooth how they work, and it's very nice. Like, welcome back to Ecuador. There's a pair of shoes and this T-shirt and this, and through gifts, as an influencer, you start like showing off the brand, and then became more serious. And now I am working with them, not just doing videos of the brand and using the brand wherever I am, but also doing videos for them. Like, I'm also actually going to this is something I really love, right? Like, I'm the cameraman recording the matches, wearing fila from head to toe. People is kind of loving it. And when I edit that, I sell them like to the marketing team. And yeah, I'm just doing full round of items or products or services for them.
And to those that don't know you, George, I just want to ask, how's your style evolved over the years, right? You started in what type of art, and where are you now?
Well, is a very nice question, because I started in the classic art world, let's say, in the same time that I started doing graffiti. So I was 16 years old, right? And I was painting watercolors and stuff like that, like soft things at home for my whole life. But when I turned 16, I started, hanging out with my skater friends, with my hip hop friends, and they introduced me to the graffiti world, like, naturally. So I think my parents was like, we need to compete with this, and they sent me to the fine art classes, and I study oil painting and classic arts. So it was like I'm doing graffiti at the same time I'm painting oils, basically. And I always try to mix these two worlds. So in my graffiti, I was always trying to do landscapes and character design instead of just the classic lettering. And also when I was painting oil paintings and things like that, I was always trying to do like the pop thing, like something three-dimensional, like something more youth appealing. So that's how you started.
What are the recurring themes, though, right? You have a lot of recurring themes in terms of like palette and...
Yeah, I do have. So I started doing something. I don't know. I will send you later. There is a painting I did in 2002 when I was 16. That is actually an isometric thing with a very colorful palette, because it was inspired in the beautiful Ecuadorian sunset, which is an spectacle that you have to witness one day, guys. You're invited to Ecuador.
We will come. We will definitely come.
Yeah, you have to. You have a house here. So when you see that, the first thing you want to do is paint that. So I was trying to paint that since always, right? And that palette, I kept painting my whole life. And also the geometric systems, like the isometric. For the people who doesn't understand, that is like, have you ever seen those illustrations in any kind of scientific book that shows you how the floors are divided and the dinosaurs appear in different stages of the Jurassic, Triassic, and blah 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 kind of times? So that is something that I really love it since I was a kid. And I try to explain the world and the society and life in that way. Just because I feel happy when I do that. Like, if you open a book and you show me the dinosaurs in this kind of isometric view and I can see the ground, I feel happy, like in a crazy way. I don't know why. So I try to paint the world in that way. So yeah, like I feel very excited. And yeah, in some point I started creating, I was living in Asia for more than 10 years. So I wasn't feeling so happy watching those crazy, intricate buildings with those highways, that's suffocating the environment. and I decided, why don't I paint those landscapes that I see right now that are also beautiful. I find a beauty on all those compositions, but with my palette. So I started creating those crazy buildings with Latin American colors, and that's how I created this visual system or visual design style that I'm working on right now.
I've got a few more. What are the your name? Your name's quite unique, right? You've obviously had influences from artists, not just within the world of painting or, people might say it's a visual design, but also in other areas, right? You've been influenced by a lot of different characters. And I know that music is a big love of yours. So,
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. This is. I think, my best friends, the best friends I ever had in my life, including you, Jake, and everybody that knows me very well. We actually clicked by music. It's like that's how I connect with the people. That's how I met my even my girlfriend and ex girlfriend. Like, I connect with people through music. So it's like, I have a saying: if you truly like Daft Punk, I'm not talking about Get Lucky kind of era, but if you really like Daft Punk from the beginning, you're automatically my best friend. Or if you listen funk, the Ohio Players or Parliament on this or this kind of like very old school music, yeah, you have a friend in me, because we're going to talk for hours about this topic that I like. So yeah, music is very important for me. I started doing arts within a group of musicians back then in my neighborhood that happens to be hip hoppers and producers. So my friends, my elder brother was always producing music at home. That's funny. My mom used to say that Jorge used to be the guy who plays the most ugly music at home and loudly. I think she's talking about very noisy music. I actually listen until now. And my brother was producing ugly music all the time. So that's hip hop, right? Yeah, and when you're sampling and you're like searching for inspiration, you end up with a huge collection of vinyls and music, and it's mostly like 70s music, 80s music. And this is where my nickname came from. People call me the Starman Funk. Crazy name for an Ecuadorian Latin American designer, an artist. So is how it happened. It's actually a very funny story. I used to play basketball. Don't judge me by my height. I actually play basketball. I love it. I'm not very tall, as you know. I'm the shortest of this team, I think. I guess I am. Yeah, of the boo guys. How was that? Sorry for the mess up thinking. Well, later we're going to talk about the boo boo boys, however we call it. So these three are the boo boo boys. Yeah, no, I was playing basketball, and my teacher used to nickname everybody, like very funny nicknames, depending on how you work, how you play. And it seems like back then I was playing alone. I just tried to do everything by myself. And the teachers used to say, "Stop trying to be the star man." I don't even, and it was saying this in Spanish, right? Like
Spanish. Yeah,
no, no seas el star man.
No seas
You know,
Starman.
no seas el Starman. Deja de jugar como un Starman. It's like in Ecuador, we use a lot of English in daily life. Like we say, "Hey man, oye man," or "ese man," to refer to a guy, like el man. And we even say la man when we refer to a girl, like esa man, that man. We say that girl or that woman. We say that man. Anyway, it was funny in how we adopt English. A lot we adopt English. And well, this teacher called me the Starman, and that was very funny. In the same time, I nicknamed myself as Funk. So some people, some of my friends even know me now as Funk. Hey Funk, something like the Funk. It was because I love that kind of music. And that teacher was like, "Hey, Starman," and I don't even remember who, but somebody was like, "The Starman Funk," and that sounds so good for me. I was like, "Dude, it doesn't make sense at all, but he's just nice." And in terms of graffiti writing, right? You can imagine everybody back then they was having like monosyllables as nicknames. So you have like Pete, Roll, Poke, whatever, like very short names. Yeah. As a graffiti writer, that's like 3 words, 4 words to fill a wall. I was filling the block with my nickname. Like, can you imagine? Star, man, Funk. And that was the whole wall with my tag. So George, I actually love it. Tell me.
What do you think of Banksy as a name?
I love the mystery behind it. I really love the controversy, and I'm really fan of the intellectually driven semiotics behind the message that he's creating. Maybe not the technique, but the technique as a message is incredible. Yeah, I can talk hours because I'm a big researcher fan.
He's probably the most kind of well known of his generation, right? Like, of would you say that's fair?
Yes, I think it's fair. I think every generation needs sort of artistic voice. Yeah. Right, and he's the voice of this generation. He's, I think, most prolific, most expensive, most everything that you want to say of a leading artist right now. Like, yeah, the guy embodied the terminology of what art is on a living person right now, person or persons, because I have my doubts that he's just one single person. I think have to be a collective, to be honest.
Yeah, just because the volume he's doing, like the amount of work.
Yes, I think it's like if you see the crews around the world, like all the graffiti artists around the world, they are like, you can't, it's like humanly impossible to be in a spot, you call it, right, in a place, do something that long, that big, without getting caught, right? You need somebody to to come with you, to tell you where you are, and like it's not that easy, like even from the it is. And yeah, I think like humanly is even impossible to hang along an stencil that tall, that big. That is like, it have to be a group of people. It cannot be just one person. But if it's one person, yeah, it's massive attack. Yeah, if it's a group of people, if it's just one guy, is crazy. Yeah, I'm actually, I think it could be 2D.
You know this one, Alex, right? The conspiracy behind Banksy, this massive attack, the band.
Yeah.
What about B&E? My favorite sticker.
He's everywhere. I don't even know who he is. He's everywhere.
One person, 2 people.
Yeah, I actually, at some point, I thought it was you.
I tell you what, I've thought about joining in. I see it everywhere I go. It's no coincidence.
Yes. And that's how I told you, right? Like, that Banksy maybe is a group, is a band, is a rock band, or like trip hop band, Massive Attack. And that makes sense because you need the money to be everywhere as a rock band artist. The guy is, like, Banksy is mysteriously, confidentially in the same place where Massive Attack is playing concerts. And the same for Jake and what is Bain? BNA?
BNA.
BNE is in the same cities that Jake is somehow. So yeah, I have my conspiracy theories behind it.
Do you think art is changing now with the technology, AI?
Yeah, it is, and you have to. That's what art is for. Yeah, the art is. It's good. No, it's good. It's good. It's inevitable. It's part of what art is. Art is like an expression of the times you're living in, and we're living on that. But I have to say something about AI. It's like, maybe I'm the oldest here, right? I'm way older than you think. Don't judge me by my cool and funky fresh style. I'm almost 40, like I'm 38. Dude, I've seen, like, my uncle used to work with those floppy disk this size, and he used to have this kind of computer where, like, I grow through this technological transition, and I remember back then people was already talking about AI, and there was some engineering system and some prediction systems back then that people use in the I don't know, in the financial systems, and they call it the AI. And that's why movies like Terminator was so popular back then, because they was already talking about what if this technology goes out of hand, right? Like the prediction method of the 80s. That was called AI in that time. Now we are calling AI something that engineers call machine learning. And this is what it actually is the so-called AI is machine learning. It's not as intelligent as we think. It's just machine learning, and we call it AI. I think in the future, 100 years later, because I'm not so fan of thinking that the instrumentation of the human brain and how you call it, the singularity is about to come in the next 5 years. I don't think it's actually, like politics and some scientifics are saying that if the military complex takes AI and develop these to reach the singularity, singularity means that machines will be so smart that they can create their own machines and they can develop themselves. That's what they call singularity, that the exponential growth of this technology comes to a point that is unstoppable, right? So seems like that is not going to happen right now, because you might need a lot of energy to create that, and we don't have that. I mean, unless the Chinese develop the what they are working on right now, and the British as well,
what about, George,
the free energy.
So that's super advanced. What about the opposite end of the spectrum? Like, what about Canva? What's your thoughts on Canva? Like, simple.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm I'm a big fan. No, actually, I'm the opposite. It's it's funny because the guys knows how to trigger me. Stop talking about Canva. No, that's a cliche. Actually, as a graphic designer, I'm not an enemy of Canva by just because it's going to take my job. Canva is a tool for non-designers, and I think non-designers needs these tools to don't bother graphic designers for very simple things that they can actually do. So this is basically what it is. Actually, I give Canvas to most of my friends who ask me for like very simple things. Like, dude, use Canva. For this, just use Canvas. You don't need more than that. The problem with Canvas is that it's so limited, but makes you feel that it's actually very advanced. And non-designers and many people that has no sense of art might think that they are doing an amazing work, and they will publish it. And I don't know. In my opinion, that is hurting brands. Is helping you to like get out of like finish some works.
What you're saying is non-designers in companies using Canva is hurting the brands, right? Like if
absolutely.
PR, social, whatever people are using Canva and pumping out stuff, it's bad.
Yeah, I think in the sense that it's not so clean, it's not so easy to like. It's a preset tool, It's like an AI field thing. It's not an artistic soul managed thing. Like, so there are so many. Actually, there's something beautiful about the English language that I love is this word. I shooting. Sorry, no, it's not I shooting. Is I actually forgot this beautiful word. So there is a word. It's like eyeballing, right? Mm-hmm. Eyeballing, right? Yeah. So there's a word, right? Like it actually explains we don't have such a word in Spanish, but explains how you design to make it easy for your eyes to complete a reading journey with ease. And that's something that like AI is not managing so well yet. So this is like, for example, right, when you're like designing something and you're aligning things, it's very easy to tell a machine align this center vertically and align this center horizontally, right? But there is something that machines doesn't get it very well, which is the mathematical alignment, the optical alignment, and the artistic alignment. And you have to play within these three things, right? And you need a human eye to take those decisions. So you can feel it when the design is just mathematically driven. Is too perfect. Mm-hmm. And it's ugly.
The math speaks to art though. Does it always speak to design? Because if you take something that, for example, is text-based, like PR or journalism, you can tell if it's been written by ChatGPT and not a human, right? There is something about the inconsistency of human writing that makes it perhaps a little bit more interesting than something that's written by a machine. However, having said that, a lot of companies will now opt for a ChatGPT over a copywriter because it's good enough, as they would say. It's good enough. It doesn't necessarily have to be good, but at conveying what needs to be conveyed, it's good enough. However, I'm not sure, to be honest, because I've been doing a lot of copywriting recently, and some of the copywriting is a string of thoughts. We'll say a string of thoughts. Mm-hmm. And it's that string of thoughts that make it interesting to read. It's somebody's unique perspective on the world. And as you've already alluded to, machines are aggregate information across multiple sources, and it's very formulaic. There's a pattern of the way in which they write that might be, within the rules of grammar, but it's those things that don't necessarily exist within the rules that make the world interesting, right? That's the artistic angle.
And don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of AI. I'm the biggest artist fan of art, and I use it every day. It's just like, like when I was working for first time in the high-tech world, I met a person, a super famous tech guy. Not going to name him, but the guy said something that changed my life forever, actually. He said, technology makes art more human. And, before, when I was a teenager, I was always thinking, like the Matrix, like machines are going to replace human and are going to make life horrible. But actually, if you think it that way, if you take the whole weekend to do this artistic project, you will not have time to be human. You are becoming a machine. And if you use the AI to make that weekend project in 20 minutes, and I'm not kidding, and I can even prove it, you have the whole weekend to be a human, to do human things, to do art, to sing, to go to the KTV, whatever you want to do. So I think technology is actually making us more human, giving us the time that we don't have. It's like same as it happens in the industrial revolution. People didn't have time to enjoy life, and after the machines was invented and the motors was created, people have time to, you know, play jazz, do music. So that's how I think.
I want, I don't want to drag it on, but the price of things, the cost of things is coming down because people can produce things with AI, right? Which means that people might have to work more because they're getting paid less. So we've moved into this world of hyper productivity. I think we've had a few guests on, Alex, that have mentioned something like 80% of all the content that was created last year is more content than was ever created ever in existence or something.
Yeah.
Dude, I created a book. I made a book. I finished my blog that I just couldn't because I was like always looking at this project as an infinite task. And as a non-native English speaker or writer, it actually takes me a lot of time to write something in English. But with the AI, mate, I'm doing presentations and things that I couldn't do before that fast, right? And that accurate. Yeah. That's how I use AI. I'm not just like letting like machine do my homework. I do my human side, and I say to the machines, perfect this.
Yeah.
Like even in the paintings, I'm doing.
Yeah. The other thing George was going to say is like, and we all worked in the same team at one point. That amount of people, like you can do the same amount of work almost now with a much smaller team. Even so, right? Like think about how big that team was.
Yes. And there was some that's what is going to happen in every kind of company, right? You have a huge amount of people with soft skills that are needed to do things, right, that nobody else can do, or you cannot trust nobody else to do that. And well, now you can trust the computers to do that work. Yeah. And it's going to facilitate the work of the people who have like the actual skills to make things happen. So in that way, in that sense, I'm really happy. But yeah, it's like, like we humans are very addict of technology, and the side effect of being addicts of AI is exactly what you say. Things are going to get cheaper. We're going to start firing a lot of people in the companies, replace people with AI, and the people is going to be taught to do more jobs. Prices of things are going to get down, and people is going to be pushed to do more valuable work. And I think that is going to be the revolution that we are all waiting to see. People doing actually valuable work instead of massive amount of works. It's something that you saw in high school, right? You always have that friend who used to write 3 pages of poems. It was good. But there was that teacher that used to measure the work by the weight of the papers. So you're always going to have that kind of a judgment in life, quality against quantity, and that's a human thing. We have to know also how to sell better this quality but smaller amount of work against the quantity that impresses the system. Yeah, so that comes back to the art state of life. I think we're going to be pushed to be more artistic on everything, like elevate all our work to the state of the art, or you're going to be replaced by the robots.
That you've just said something there, which was elevate the work to art. Okay, I think we've actually said something similar, Alex, that everybody is going to be a creator. in some essence that is the future, right? That everybody is some sort of content creator feeding into this machine where everybody's watching, everybody's looking on social media. So if you start creating things, you put them on social media, you are a creator. And it's unfortunate because there's not really, like, in 2024, if you're not putting things on social media, you're not getting anywhere near the same level of attention or eyeballs as people that are. Fact.
You're right. That's a very nice observation of the times we're living in, and a very accurate recommendation for people.
There's a question though. Can everyone be a creator? Can everyone be an artist? Has everyone got talent to do that? You know,
I have an opinion that actually is quite controversial, to be honest, because nobody wants to listen to that. I've seen many people trying to be artists and not making it, right? So I actually came to the conclusion that you're born as an artist, and there are some people actually that they didn't born as an artist by the skills. It's like God is playing with you in that way, because you born with an empty skill sets, because art is very muscle memory and sets of, like, you know, craft that you have to develop with practice. So most of the people who are actually artists is like, it's like a trick. You don't come with a full set, you have to buy it. It's like you come with the aims, you come with a predisposition to be an artist. Like, you come with that passion, that need, that emptiness of your soul, that thirst of art creation. Not everybody borns with that, and you have seen this everywhere, right? So that's what an artist is. That you're born with that. Not everybody borns with that, without hunger, and that hunger pushes you to develop your skills, and in some point of your life, you're a master on something. It can be music, it can be fine arts, whatever you do. So I think not everybody born as an artist, but yeah, everybody can be a creator. Everybody can be a creator, because we all have a different point of view of life. We have a voice, and everybody wants to listen to that voice. So if you take that skill, that need, and you look at the times you're living in, like the reality out there, you can create something. And if you do it with the techniques and technology that you can find on a tutorial online and on a shop downstairs, you can be the next creator. Ecuador is a place full of creators and influencers. You know, this is very interesting. Maybe the lack of, and this is an interesting thing that is happening in South America. There is a bunch of creators, and most of them, they say that happened because the lack of workplaces. That is very interesting. Like, yeah, I know, like, you know, in Shenzhen, if you're an influencer, you might lose your job. You will not get attention, like a serious attention in any sort of industry. If you are like an influencer, or if you have a side influencer hustle, you will never be taken seriously. But in Ecuador, in Latin America, seems like, you know, those guys get prizes all the time. People is making 6 figures.
Yeah, I mean, look at footballers, Messi, Neymar, like all the best footballers. They're creative guys, right? They get paid a lot of money.
Yeah.
Maradona.
Interesting.
Maradona.
But you can't, you know, Alex, I just want to point out that I think that, you know, this is not me just like bigging up where we're from, but I think the UK is a very creative place as well. Like, quite generally, like a lot of music and a lot of art. I think Banksy, a massive attack from the UK. Just checking.
Yeah.
The Beatles. I mean, like, don't start me. I'm a super big fan of drum and bass and all the electronic music coming from the UK, strictly from London. And Dude, there's so much coming there. What is interesting is that I heard British people complaining about the lack of creativity in London and the lack of creativity in UK because people is following the system.
I think that's probably low on the list of complaints right now, George.
Yeah. Well, everywhere, but like this self-criticism that some people have, it's actually proportional and it's directly proportional to the amount of creativity of the place where you live in. Like the more creative you are, in that place you're going to find the best art expressions, because art is a critic of the times you're living in, basically.
Yeah. What's happening next, George? Like what's on the horizon? Can you share anything, or top secret?
Yeah, no, there's no secrets on my work. It's actually just be patient to see what is coming next, because art takes time, because I'm not a robot. I'm just kidding. I'm working on some solo shows. I'm working for some brands. I just finished my first solo show in Ecuador. Is crazy, right? I already had 3 solo shows in Asia. I have like massive shows in the States, but I didn't show anything I haven't shown anything in my city in Ecuador yet. So it's the first time. It was a very humbling but very rich experience. Having all the people who love me and support me for all those years, they feel. I had a packed house. It was a full house. It was amazing. So next, I'm going to keep working with these brands that I told you. I'm working with Fila. I'm working with a Pintulac, which is like a Ace Hardware / IKEA sort of brand in Ecuador, and they are bringing all these massive art tools and brands. So I'm working with them, and today, actually, in 2 hours, I'm going to have a photo session and shooting with a fashion brand that is creating products like locally produced. It's basically like Uniqlo, something like that in Ecuador, and potentially we're going to create some artistic collaborations with them. So that's what is going to happen for the next couple of months. And the agency is also doing well. So I'm also producing some content. I'm mostly doing production directly instead of doing the strategy part of marketing. I'm just producing. And you know what is funny? There, these agencies that we always hate from the side of the client. I'm actually that kind of agency right now. I'm producing, like I'm listening to the client directly. I'm proposing like a sort of strategy that is good enough, and we produce that. So it's like a sort of product that I'm creating. And for some small brands that they don't have the luxury of doing some marketing groups and some focus groups, and they don't have a lot of information, they can only rely on the good sense of some experts. And that's what I'm doing. Like that's why the name of my company is Figure, because we figured it out. So this is where I am right now.
Alex, are we doing? We've done a lot of future predictions. Are we?
Yeah.
Quick one.
Let's do it.
Quick one. Jorge, this is the last segment, famous segment of the show, which is where you get put on the spot. So it's future predictions. Could be anything: the world, art, yourself, but future predictions.
Tell me. Should it?
You tell me.
No, you predict, George.
It's all about
I should predict something.
Yeah.
Right. So I think this fever of AI is going to end very soon. It's going to just I think
really our last guest actually said that as well.
That's what I thought, because before it's like I was thinking in the 80s we was thinking that whatever technology we had, that was AI, and we was very ambitious, and we say, okay, so put nuclear power on those things. The problem of AI is that 10 minutes of AI chat GTP takes like 10 minutes of a 100 watts light bulb to produce those lines. People doesn't know that. It's not green at all. It's like the least green thing. I'm a fan of the AI, but So the places where we are producing these AI are not developed in a way that, like, we don't have the technology yet to make it green, and this is one of the concerns of people around the world. Like, we need something to be sustainable, right? And sadly, we don't have yet, as a, like, humanity, like the industry, we don't have yet a green solution for that. Seems like some countries like China, like the States, they are looking for more green options because we're getting very addict to the AI. The military complex is putting their hands on AI. They want to be the fastest and they want to be the most accurate on the field. And that takes a lot of calculation power than any country is able to deliver yet. Seems like the G7 countries all together, they don't have the energy to feel the future of AI in the next 3 years. So I think we're going to start having like a slowdown on this crazy thing of AI, and I think that might be what Sarah Connor always wanted.
Oh, well, on that note,
yeah, we don't know.
Good luck with everything, George. Good luck with all the stuff you're doing.
Guys, good luck with what you're doing. I'm very fun. I'm very proud of what you're doing. In that way, I think you're the future of AI, guys. Keep doing it with soul.
Say hi when you're in Asia again.
Great, I will. Where are you now?
Hong Kong. Jake is Bangkok.
Bangkok, yeah.
I will see you soon.
Okay,
Adios.
sir.
Peace and love.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, guys.